Let's give a big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode of the Kevin Pollak Chat Show. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free trial and 10% off, go to squarespace.com and use our offer code Pollak. That's P-O-L-L-A-K. Squarespace. Also, Catch a Contractor. We've got some must-see TV for you today. Catch a Contractor with Adam Carolla premieres Sunday, March 9th, 9 Central on Spike. Tune in as master carpenter Adam Carolla and his team track down shoddy contractors and bring them to justice. For the contractor, it's a chance at redemption. For the families, Adam brings home the justice they're looking for. For the viewers, it's brilliant entertainment. Tune in Sunday starting March 9th on Spike. Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How the hell are you? Have you missed us? It's only been a week. What the fuck is your problem? You're not buffering. We have a very exciting show for you today. This is going out to the world live via YouTube here on February 23rd. There's a question for one of my producers in the outer sanctum, to Josh in particular. Did we owe a pre-roll to the fine folks at Spike as well? Kenny and I are confused. There may have been a pre that we owed. Do we want to try to record it? That was it. That was an official yes. So what we'll do is we'll start the show again. No? Do you want to add it in later for the thing? How would they prefer it? Go ahead and use the mic so I can hear you.
It's up to you.
There we go.
Your show.
Now you're live. Oh, it's up to me. Well, then we'll add it in later.
Okay.
Because the live folks are already going, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, I was a little too quick on the draw.
Okay, no problem. All right, so we do have this amazing show. I want to start it a little differently, though. I want to say at the end of last week's thank yous, I forgot to thank our amazing intern, David Mandel, and I say this because this particular fellow is literally the best intern that I've ever worked with in my storied career, which spans 3 decades plus. Bar none, honestly, the best. Without question, just anticipates everything. It's everything you want from someone you're not paying. Why would you end a compliment with such a cruel comment? It's what we do. I can't wait to gainfully employ this son of a bitch. That's how talented I think he is. I can't wait to fire everyone else and just, well, now I've ruined the whole thing. We're coming to you live on the YouTube. If you're watching us, let us know. Write to us at contact@kevinpollakschatshow.com. Let us know what the fuck is your process of taking in this show. Do you listen? Do you watch? Do you get us on the Earwolf on Tuesdays when the show drops live? How do you do it? Contact KevinPollaksChatShow.com. And if you don't subscribe to us by now on YouTube or the iTunes, I will find you and I will kick you in the face. I've been known to do that. Bill Murray has a thing where people have said, and there's websites devoted to this, a collection of these stories. He comes up behind people on the streets of New York, puts his hand over their eyes and whispers to them, "No one will believe you." And then he walks past them and they see it's Bill Murray. I am just as famous, but less websites devoted to, for kicking people in the face.
That seems harsh.
It seems harsh?
A little bit.
No, it's completely harsh. Bum, 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 bum. Are you watching the Olympics? I can't.
Do we owe somebody now for that?
Yeah, I did just about, just the right
Just
amount.
right.
I cannot get enough of the horrible, horrible Olympics. A couple of Twitter accounts have been devoted to Bob Costas's red eyes, and I think that's wrong. I just want to go on record as saying I don't approve or condone this behavior, though I find it wildly humorous. I like his gumption that he came back on the air and said, no, fuck you guys. Yeah, I still look like a rat with red eyes, an opossum, if you will, but I'm going back and I'm talking to the world. So good on you, Bob Costas, and I'm sorry about your eyes. They're scary, dude. They're just straight up scary. I mean, I get a little, I audibly gasp each and every time you come on with a great smile and tremendous gregariousness, because that's a word. Have you seen the Tom Hanks or the Larry David recent interviews on the show, Taran Killam from last week? Let us know how you're getting the show. We really do want to hear from you. Right in the Larry King game. I read a Larry King game last week. That person won a T-shirt, although I will need their shirt size and address, so please include that in your emails. We're missing our own Sam Levine today, who, wait for it, is at a Comic-Con-ish gathering in Pensacola, Florida. Again, you're not buffering. But we do have, sitting in for our own Sam Levine, the visiting Sean Faster, everybody. Shawnee from the D.C., our nation's capital, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not mic'd. Jamie.
Yes, he is mic'd.
Jamie, you look lovely in your dress.
Thank you. It's by the Free People. It's old, but, you know.
You know what I love
enjoy
about
their
the
brand.
Free People?
What?
Their shit costs money.
Oh, unlike my Target dresses that cost $17?
Yeah. The Free People, I'll bet that set you back at least $57.
I probably, you know me, I probably got it for 40 or less.
Yeah.
Knowing
That
that.
is you.
It's my want.
But it looks lovely, and now I'm curious what the occasion is. Oh, I know.
I'm on camera. I have
Yeah.
to look nice.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't want to look like a slobbo.
You're on the cameras. Oh, Sean F. In studio. In studio.
Not this Sean F., a different Sean F.
That's right. I think he's AWN. So yeah, there's another Sean F. on the O&A.
Nice.
Our guest just sighed. I think he's had enough of the pre-show.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, good.
I've had not enough of the pre-show.
Yeah,
Should we talk about Sean's week?
Sean?
Yeah, the whole week.
Visiting from the nation's capital.
I think I hate to admit this because if
Your
you know,
family's coming.
If my or any of my friends who listen or watch, they're going to be like, "Why don't you do this much for me?"
Yeah. In
This
fact,
one has had a fun-filled week.
In fact, I'm going to try to tack you to the ground and stop you from saying the details. Conan O'Brien, which I cannot line up for anyone else, sat in the audience, met
Andy.
Met Andy backstage,
Yep.
and got the tour and had Triumph on your hand.
Multiple triumphs.
Multiple triumphs.
There are many triumphs.
Saw all the behind the scenes, paid no attention to the man behind the curtain, you guys saw it all. Then came to a taping of the Mom CBS show, where you were on the floor, not in the stands, walking around, hanging out in Anna Faris's dressing room afterwards. Never you mind. What was happening?
I also took him to the Improv.
And then he got to, right?
Tell him about that.
Live podcast recording of?
Talking Tunes with Rob Paulson and a bunch of other voice actors, video games and cartoons.
Which you happen to be a huge fan of.
Very big fan, yeah.
All right. Write to us at contact
Wait,
Kevin
that's not
Pollak.
all. We've been to many other places. We went to Keswick
Right.
and Coruscant
What's their
and
relation?
Hoth.
Friends?
Sean is visiting, actually, one of our producers, the research producer, Jason McIntyre, otherwise known as J-Mac. They went to school together.
Well, we all went to school together, but we didn't know until after I graduated a year.
Where was
in
this?
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
University at the Point Park?
Point Park
Right.
University,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
In the Pittsburgh area.
UPP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or PPU.
PPU.
Come on.
PPU.
UPP.
UPP.
PPU.
Me PP? No, you PP.
PP me once. Fuck me. Is that it? Is that all the action he got?
I was talking about,
That's a lot of
we
action,
visited
though.
many planets.
And the Star
Keep
Tours.
talking, because we're a little behind right now.
Did you go to the La Brea Tar Pits?
No, but they went to the Disneyland.
That's what I was talking about, because I said we went to Hoth and Keswick and Coruscant and Naboo.
And Naboo.
Oh, we're talking about Star Tours.
Do you live in
Yes.
Pittsburgh?
Now I live in D.C.
You live in D.C.?
Went to school in Pittsburgh.
Got it.
Yep.
What was J-Mac adding from the outer shore? God, the listeners right now just must be
Laser
having-
tag.
No, laser tag.
Oh, yeah. How was laser tag yesterday? Because I was wondering what 1997 was like.
It was amazing.
Was it? Was it amazing?
Yeah, it was cool.
Was it like you remember it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Were your parents university professors, one at Rutgers and one at Princeton? No, that's our guest today. Let's get to it, shall we? We miss you, Sam Levine, wherever you are. Signing autographs. I'm sorry, what's the name? Penelope. No, you're my favorite. What's the name? Steve. No, you're my favorite. That's my impression of Sam Levine at Pensacon. All right, we had former state member Joe Latrulio and David Wayne here, but now we've got the former member, Michael Showalter. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
We're so very fond of you, and in particular that shirt. What was the process of choosing it?
Well, for your show?
Yes.
Well, I was sitting here with you as we were getting ready to begin to record, and I noticed how ungainly I appeared in my T-shirt.
You noticed this on the
monitor.
On the monitor. Anything greater than a creative person looking at themselves on monitor?
See, I'm looking at myself right now on the monitor
Yes,
and
you are.
feeling that I look much more gainly.
Yeah. And colorful.
And colorful. And so I went back to my car and I retrieved gum, and then I also said, oh, I see that thing in the back seat, I'll put it on.
I'm a fan of one of those two things.
Not the gum. You want the gum out?
Totally kidding.
Okay.
This is one of those shows where you chew away, mister.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's bubble gum.
Do you want to talk about that?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Because when you said I was sighing, what I was actually doing was looking at a tweet that I had put out
About the Olympics.
about Bob Costas' eyes and trying to remember what I wrote.
What did you write?
Well, because it was one of those hashtag games.
Sure.
And it was Olympic movies.
Uh-huh.
And my tweet was, what about Bob Costas' fucked up face?
That's pretty
Which
great.
I appreciated.
That's pretty great.
I appreciated that of myself.
Yeah.
What about Bob Costas' fucked up face?
Was there a little space between that, or is
What about Bob ...
Nice.
Costas' fucked up
Because
face?
you got to spell it out on the Twitter.
You do.
Yeah, this is a visual
Yes,
medium.
Yes. What about Bob? That's the movie.
Right.
And then Costas' fucked up face is the punchline.
So you went with the whole face. I focused my attention comedically on the eyes.
Yeah, and
But you're going to go ahead and say there's been some work done?
well, no. I was actually just saying his eyes made his face feel fucked up to me.
And what may have started as pink eye took on a whole new level. I think
He was gone for a week. Were you paying attention to what was going on? He was going to be gone for one day.
yes.
He was going to sit in a dark room for one day.
Was that the prescription?
That was the prescription. It was, where's Bob Costas? He's in a dark room for one day.
Because that's the only cure.
That's the only cure. Well, they were going to put like cold packs on his eyes. They were going to give him antibiotics. He was going to be alone in a dark room for one day. One day turned into a week. Poor guy.
Yeah, and he, by the way, he was still there the whole time. Not like Bob.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Not like put Bob on a jet. He's got to go home.
No.
Sit in your hotel room, Bob. Enjoy the sushi.
Yeah,
How familiar with sushi were you?
not at all.
Sochi?
Not at all.
Anyone?
Sochi?
Yeah.
Not in the least. But I do watch a lot of sports, and so the Winter Olympics is a big deal for me.
Yeah. So, what event did you look forward to the most, and what paid off the best?
Have you been watching?
Yes, more sporadically than your average bear, but 80% of the evening. I'm watching.
Okay, me too. I found myself I like any form of race.
Yes.
Anything that is a race, I like. So I've very much enjoyed all of the it's called like snowboard cross or ski, where it's like a demolition derby. They're just crazily going through this thing and they're all falling down left and right.
Is it new? Is that new?
It seems pretty new.
I don't remember the five guys
you know what I'm talking about?
snowboarding in a race.
Yeah.
That's pretty spectacular.
And it's really just a survival of the fittest. It's just whoever's didn't fall down.
Eventually,
It's basically just if you didn't fall down, you get it, you win.
It's as close as we've got to rollerball.
Yeah. I think did you used to watch Happy Days back in the day?
Please.
Do you remember the Malachi Crunch? Do you remember the Malachi brothers?
Oh, this wrestling?
No. Fonzie, as I'm sure you know, was a very good demolition derby driver.
Ah, the Malachi brothers. It's coming back.
Do you remember Pinky Tuscadero
Sure.
and Mother Tuscadero?
Please, don't. Yes.
Well, the Tuscadero sisters were also good demolition derby drivers. And the Malachi brothers had a technique played by Gans and Mandel.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Two of the main riders of the show.
Yes. Babalu Gans and Lowell Mandel played the Malachi brothers.
How fun.
And they had a technique called the Malachi crunch, whereas they'd get your car in between them and they would crunch you. So Fonzie survived the Malachi crunch.
Well, as only Fonzie.
As only Fonzie could.
Right.
And I think of this, whatever this is called, snowboard cross or whatever, it's a demolition derby and it's a Malachi crunch situation.
Watch out for the Malachi brothers.
What else did I like? I enjoyed really almost everything. I enjoyed the bobsledding, the skeleton key or whatever that's called.
The skeleton key we need to talk about just for a couple of seconds, if you don't mind.
Please.
Because I'm pretty sure, which one is the one where they're laying on their stomach and they're actually looking?
The skeleton key.
At the
Is
ice.
that what it's called, the skeleton key?
I think it's just the skeleton.
Okay, the skeleton.
Yeah, you have a skeleton key. The event is called the skeleton. But they're lying on a pretty thin, rickety,
Yeah.
it's fairly worthless.
With wheels. Or
No wheels.
Blades.
Blades.
On
On the ice.
Yes.
What are they doing? 70 miles an hour?
Yeah,
Even if
faster,
it's just
faster,
40.
80. I think they're going 80 miles an hour.
I believe they're wearing a helmet. I say I
Yes.
believe because it's so absurd what else they're not wearing
It's
to protect themselves should things go. And clearly that's what the Olympics needs. It needs the old agony of defeat.
Right.
Especially in that ski jump that gave us the agony of defeat
Correct.
clip. Because the ski jump now has got grooves.
ski jump is so boring.
They ruined the
It's so
scariest thing. When we were
boring.
children, that was the
thing.
this could go horribly wrong. And now
No, it was the ultimate thing was the guy.
they're on a conveyor belt.
It's not fun to watch.
What
at all.
happened?
It's not fun to watch. I don't know.
But instead, we have pretty wild snowboard action.
Yeah.
We have the jumbo downhill. We have the downhill, the jumbo, and the mini jumbo.
The slalom, the giant slalom.
There we go. And the downhill.
The venti slalom.
That's right. And Miller. Bodie Miller came through. The other thing is, when the pressure's on, and the guy, Ligeti?
Tim Ligeti.
When the pressure's on that you're the guy that's supposed to win the gold,
Right.
that's the sort of pressure I don't think humans will ever understand. We've all had the thing before you go on live, we all that have performed live, where you have a certain level of expectations.
Yeah.
Some performers need to think this is going to go horribly. Some performers think this is going to go great. I've got this nailed.
Okay.
We were talking about the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson briefly. My favorite emotion that I felt ever doing that show was thinking, this is Disneyland. I'm going to go on the most exciting ride at Disneyland. It never felt pressured. It never felt, what if I fuck up? The Olympics, when you're expected to win the gold the way Ligeti is there any greater
No. Especially if you're the figure skaters, I think. To me, that's the highest amount of pressure because...
Young Kim, the Asian female,
Yes.
was expected to win
Right.
a second time.
And you because they have to land these these jumps so precisely.
Absurdly.
Yeah, that the littlest tiny thing, and like, it is the one thing where like you are actually striving for perfection.
Yeah. And
So
we
you
also
need to be perfect. That's how you win at it, is by being perfect.
Right.
And that's antithetical to life.
Yes. What, looking back,
I mean, I was a very good figure skater. No.
what looking back,
Yeah.
I was about to ask, would you say, did you nail that spin on the ice?
You mean metaphorically or literally?
Metaphorically, at any point in your life,
Oh, that's
as
such a good
perfectly
question.
as these people must.
That's such a good question.
Did you ever pet a cat that correctly? That you felt like, you know what?
I did it.
That was a 10.
I did it.
You could turn that up, though, right?
That is a good question.
Finally.
Off the top of my head,
Oh, just a moment.
yeah.
Not even a whole thing.
I know, but I want to be really on. I want to get it right. I want to get my answer right. To go, what was that moment where I really was like, yes? That was it. I don't know.
How
I
about
gotta
the
think
awful
about it.
host at the variety show in the Wet Hot American Summer? That character. That's one of Jamie's favorites, I think.
Yeah?
She quotes that on occasion.
Is that true?
Well,
Is she allowed to talk?
Not dialogue, but you reference.
No,
That
I
reminds
reference-
me of the host character
Yes.
that Michael Showalter
I don't quote
portrayed.
it.
Because you did kind of hit an essence with that.
Yeah, when I was starting out, I think you could say that. When I was in college, I was an intern at on a TV show on the Ha Network. Do you remember the Ha Network?
The original Comedy Central.
So they originally
Horrible name. Well, historically.
So bad.
Was there ever a meeting where that was even voted on?
Clearly not. I don't know.
Everyone just showed up and there was a memo.
Yeah.
We're the Ha Network.
We're called Ha.
Worst.
The worst, hardest thing
Yeah.
to say out loud. But yes, for anyone that doesn't know, Comedy Central used to be called Ha.
And then was the second one. Comedy. Anyways.
There was it was Ha and then something else and,
they-
then Comedy Central.
They joined. So you were intern
I was an
at
intern
Ha at the age of.
Ha. At the age of, I don't know, 19?
That's correct.
You know this? It was this in the 73-page dossier?
It is.
Is it really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
You must have told someone else.
I must have, but I don't. This isn't one that I usually talk about
Excellent.
because it was such a dark moment. No, it was great. I was an intern at Ha, and I was assigned to, much like your intern that you talked about so lovingly at the beginning of the show.
David Mendel. Crushed it.
And my show was called The Big Room. And The Big Room was a show whereby well-known Borscht Belt comedians would do their act in the Borscht Belt, and a hip young director would direct their set. And so they were half-hour-long stand-up shows of Nipsey Russell, Jan Murray, Mort Saul, Corbett Monica. Are any of these names ringing a bell?
All of them.
Pat.
Paulson.
No, Pat.
I'm so old. All of these are hitting.
Pat. No, I'm saying
McCormick?
Pat something.
Okay. Indeed.
I wanted to say Pat Murray. Oh, Alan. It doesn't matter. Freddie Roman.
Freddie Roman.
Okay. So
Alan King.
Alan King didn't. He was too big.
Sure.
It was sort of a. It was like a slight.
Jan Murray. We're talking
Jan
about
Murray,
Jan Murray.
Corbett Monica.
Sure.
Nipsey Russell was like the big name that we got.
Yeah.
You of course remember Nipsey Russell
Please.
from
Nobody rhymed
the Hollywood
quite
Squares.
like Nipsey.
And
A name I'm not sure you could get away with now.
probably not. Yeah.
This monitor keeps cutting out. FYI, I'm sure it means nothing. Please tell me it means nothing.
Does it mean nothing?
Are we losing? Is anyone yelling at you on the interweb saying, "Where the fuck's the show"?
No,
Oh, excellent. Okay, thanks, guys.
No, my sister just yelled at me because she's like, "Why don't I do those things whenever I visit?"
You knew it was
I knew
coming.
it was coming.
I can't believe you.
Well, it does sound like you really rolled out the red carpet for him.
Well, no. Let's just be honest. It was happenstance, sheer luck.
Meanwhile, my sister has visited once,
Crazy.
mind you, and it was at your 50th birthday party, and she met many people.
She got
so
to
I
hang
wanna
with
hear
Bruce
it.
Willis.
I've been in
shut up already.
LA for 7 or 8 months. And that's not that long, and I haven't done nearly as much stuff as you. This is as far away
4
from
days.
my yeah.
So you're at the Ha Network. You've got the Borscht Belt Comics.
Borscht Belt comic.
You're an intern.
I'm an intern. Hip young directors directing these Borscht Belt comedians.
By the name one director.
Mario Van Peebles.
Correct.
So I became quite well versed and interested by the whole Borscht Belt comedy scene and all what that was, and I kind of got immersed in it and learned a lot about it and the history of it, and got to see all these guys do their act. And so Alan Shemper, the character from Wet Hot American Summer, is kind of my
Loosely.
homage to these guys who I studied and watched them do their thing. And
I don't think we knew that. I don't think we knew the basis of that.
there you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, I was, and I mean, you know, I really became quite fascinated with the Catskills and that genre of stand-up comedy. Like all these guys, they would do their act would start with a song.
Uh-huh.
Act starts with a song,
Classy.
and the song is sort of like a
Get to know you.
yeah.
How are you, folks?
Hey, we're all here together.
Yeah.
We're doing this together.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
Yeah,
it's that moment in Annie Hall when Woody Allen has to write for that horrible comic. Hey, you're looking beautiful tonight. Hey, it's good to see you tonight.
Actually, in a lot of them, he'd come out. I might be blending one act into all of their acts, but it felt like they'd come out like in a coat and a hat, take the coat off, Mr. Rogers style, like, like, oh, an audience. Like,
what are you doing in my living room?
Yeah, like, and I'll hang up my coat, I'll take my hat off, I'll hang up my umbrella. We're gonna get to know each other.
Yeah.
And there would be a song.
Welcome to my hour.
Yeah. And then there would be jokes, a lot of jokes, and then there would be nostalgia. And this was the thing that I really, really loved.
Folks, do you remember World War II?
Exactly. Literally. There would be a long section of just nostalgia. And the audience, that was their favorite part.
They cried.
And the part that I remembered the most was, so when we were kids, it was always when we were kids. It was always about what you could do when you were a kid.
Yeah.
When you were a kid. We would go to the boardwalk in Coney Island.
For a penny.
For a penny. Everything was for a penny. Everything cost a penny. Cars cost a penny. And you could get...
Well, they were smaller.
There was a candy.
Oh, yeah.
You would buy it.
Saltwater taffy?
Not saltwater taffy.
No.
There was a special kind of candy you could buy for a penny. It came in a cardboard box.
Sure.
And then you hear the audience. It's the Charlotte Russe. It's the Charlotte Russe. It's the Charlotte Russe.
You could literally hear them.
You could hear them going. They knew what he was talking about. Came in a cardboard box. It's the Charlotte Russe. It's the Charlotte Russe. It's the Charlotte Russe. It was a piece of cake, a piece of sponge cake. And then it was like getting louder. It's the Charlotte Russe. The Charlotte Russe.
And he was purposely not saying it because he knew they'd be saying it.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that, and I really enjoyed that.
That's pretty spectacular.
And then it was called, and then you'd hear 500 people, the Charlotte Russe. Have you ever had a Charlotte Russe?
No, sir. Never knew it existed until this moment.
It's a piece of cake.
Right.
And then there's other things on it, and it came in a cardboard box.
Spongy.
A spongy piece of cake. I believe there was whipped cream involved, maybe some chocolate. And then at the end, a little lesson. A little lesson. A little lesson about life.
There's one thing I've learned, folks.
There's one thing I've learned, like, take this with you.
Yeah.
We've had a good time. We've had some laughs.
And then a song?
And then a song. we've had some laughs.
That's great.
We've reminisced. And now I want to leave you with a little something.
Yeah.
It's a little life lesson.
My dad once said to me.
Yeah. And then there's a song.
And I give that to you. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Jacket goes back on, the hat, show's over.
We had a lovely time tonight. Her parents, retired university professors, Pops Rutgers, Mom Princeton.
Yeah.
No pressure there.
No.
To succeed.
No one's smart in my family for me to compare myself against. And
so you rebelled and went right to comedy.
Yes.
Because, first of all, you went to Brown because you heard there was some easy ladies.
Yes.
Be honest.
No, what are you talking about?
Brown University?
Yeah. Is that where easy ladies go to Brown? Have you heard that? Is that a thing?
I'm not saying it's documented. I've heard a few people say that who went to Brown. That there was some...
That's not anything I've ever heard.
The opposite is in fact true.
Is that right?
There were some easy men. What did you study at the Brown?
I studied...
Not academia. Yeah?
Technically, yes. I studied something called semiotics.
Keep talking.
It was a highly theoretical... it's the language of signs and symbols. It's the language of signs and symbols, and it's
wow.
It's all about different ways of understanding meaning.
Wow.
What things mean and.
That's pretty heady stuff.
Yeah, it's very heady stuff. Different systems of meaning and the way in which all different forms of media and anything can be looked at semiotically, but it's about the way all these different ways that we communicate, all the layers of meaning.
I think this actually well informed a lot of your work.
I do too. I do too.
As an observer, as a participant, you better know. But as an observer of your work and a fan, I see a theme. I see a through line. dissecting what you find funny
That's right.
while being funny.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I never set out to do that, but my inclination is always to comment a little bit on things as they're happening.
Was it ever easy to seem mesmerized by David Wayne's card tricks? Will it ever be easy? Has it ever?
You mean to act like, oh, that was great? Is this a question off of the internet?
To seem mesmerized by David
What do you
Wayne.
think? What's your answer to that question?
If it's ever easy to seem mesmerized?
Yeah.
The first 3 times.
I saw. I don't know.
I've got my answer. That's beautiful. I also love the level of concentration that he must commit to in order to complete the trick. It's instead of there's just a man doing this. Is that your card? You know, he's got to stare off at a point. It's beautiful. And so, okay, we'll switch the subject.
Please, no. I want to talk about David Wayne's magic trick.
So, did you ask M. Night Shyamalan what the M stood for?
Matt. Doesn't everyone know that?
No, I don't think
It stands for Matt.
No, it doesn't.
His name is Matt Night Shyamalan. His name is Matt Shyamalan.
The night part is actually fake. He made up night.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it's just Matt Shyamalan.
But his name is Matt. Matthew. Matthew.
Matthew, I would accept as a correct
Matthew
answer.
Shyamalan.
How did you stumble on the comedy from the studying of dissecting and finding information and symbols and so
Well,
on?
I grew up. In a nutshell, I joined a comedy group at NYU because I started at NYU. Joined a comedy group, which was always something I had known when I go to college. I want to join a comedy group
How? Why?
because I was a big fan of comedy growing up. I
This is
would,
before the internship at 19?
Oh, yes.
Around the same time,
Oh no! I mean, what do you mean?
in terms of joining the improv group.
Before, yes, I joined. I was I was in this what ultimately became the state. I started my freshman year of college.
Now, you were watching what?
I was
Monty
watching
Python? What?
I was a little bit watching Monty Python. I was watching
Kids in the Hall?
Not so much Kids in the Hall because we were, or that was sort of the same. So I was like actually in college
Right.
when Kids in the Hall was happening. I was watching David Letterman for sure. I was watching, all the early Bill Murray.
Chris Elliott come out from under the steps.
Chris Elliott drinking the coffee. Do you remember the coffee? That was one of my favorite bits ever of all time.
Really?
Do you know the coffee
Please
bit?
tell us.
And this is like really influenced his anti-comedy was a big influence on me, Chris Elliott.
Right.
He's going to break the world record for drinking the most amounts of cups of coffee in 1 hour. That was the length of David Letterman's show. The curtain comes up. He's sitting there next to a kiddie pool filled with coffee. He's sitting in a chair. He's got a coffee cup. He explains it. Hey, Dave. Yes. I'm going to drink as much coffee as I can during your show. Dips his thing in, takes the first thing, and it's like, and start, and then blows on the coffee because it's hot. And has to sip the coffee. And so by, halfway through the show, he's not even finished the first cup. That really made a big influence on me.
It's just really, really hot.
It's really hot.
Yeah.
He couldn't drink it that fast. It was too hot.
Yeah.
Letterman, certainly some Monty Python. I like Benny Hill, big Benny Hill. I like silly
Yeah.
comedy. Mork and Mindy.
Sure.
Steve Martin, early Steve Martin stuff.
Oh, boy, yeah.
The Jerk and Man with Two Brains and all that stuff.
That's definitely the anti.
Yeah, Woody
influence.
Allen's early stuff was big on me.
Bananas.
Bananas,
Does this
take the money and run.
Gub. You have a gub. Take the money and run. He goes to the bank.
Yes.
Slips him a note. Is that no? That's an N.
Yes,
It's
yes.
Definitely an N.
Yeah.
Looks like Gub. And he calls the manager
Yeah.
over. Does it say Gub? to you?
That's
Can I have
also
a
the
gub?
one where that's also the one where he goes and buys the condoms and
Yeah.
he gets 10 different
Price
things.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way, it's such a standard sort of joke, almost hackneyed if you
Yes.
think about doing the price check.
Yes, yes.
But he was the first to my memory as well.
we're one of something that I'm working on. There's a joke. He gets a bunch of things and the price check is for the comb, and it's like no. You know, so like
Nice.
he ordered a bunch of
Porn.
really porny stuff, and then the price check is on the comb. But the guy is like, no, don't. It's okay. I won't get the comb. I won't get the comb.
That's good.
That's a twist.
Influence.
That's a twist on the price check joke.
Yeah.
But
So you couldn't wait to get into sketch
I
from all
couldn't-
those influences.
correct.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because later, according to the dossier, you entered the world of stand-up and found a new form of liberation.
Really? It says that in the dossier?
It suggests that after doing tons of sketch and tons of writing with a partner here and there, that you found this free-floating, high wire act of being out there on your own a little liberating.
Yes, I would say that's true.
And live therapy.
Somewhat true. It is true. I have shied away from that a little bit, though. In the
As of
last
late.
In the last couple of years, I've sort of drifted back from that.
I'm speaking 07, 08.
Yeah, I did a couple of years of
Yeah.
tons of stand-up. I did a solid couple of years of tons of touring and being in front of an audience doing stand-up alone by myself.
Yeah. It's an interesting art form in that I don't know if there's anything more exhilarating because you're alone out there, living and dying by your own wits, finding that groove live, getting off stage, what it meant, and then also maybe quickest to this is getting old.
Interesting.
Because it's the constant need of creating new.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the group sketch experience where, yeah, you want new and you want inventive and you want that, but you've also got other people to count on, other people to play off of. It's just such a way crazy different rhythm versus there's nobody else here.
Yes.
So you did find it initially to be that sort of exhilaration.
And I still do to an extent. I mean, it wasn't like I fell away from that and went back to sketch either. Now it's more like I like.
You became a filmmaker.
I like the writing, the directing, the producing, the molding of the thing. And I just think that being a stand-up is to do it well. It just requires a certain dedication and focus.
Yeah.
That I just felt like you can't halfway stand-up comedy. That's sort of what it came down to for me. Like I can't do this halfway, and based on my other interests, it's going to be halfway. And so it's.
By the way, if you want to see folks out there what he's describing, halfway, half it. If you want to half it, I'll be at the Jukebox.
Will you?
Comedy Club in Peoria, Illinois.
But you don't do anything halfway.
Oh, March 6th through the 8th.
You're way past that.
Jay Leno
You're in the HOF.
can do apparently HOAF,
HOF,
which is
the Hall of Fame.
you're Jay
past
Leno can
halfway.
do 4-digit multiplication in his head while he's on stage performing. That's how in the moment he is.
What? That doesn't sound in the moment to me.
No, it doesn't.
It's the opposite.
Yes, it is. He's so tickled by his own material that he's doing 4-digit multiplication in his head while he's talking.
Oh, is this real? Is this true?
This is the legend and the lore.
But that suggests to me that he knows his routine so well that he can actually do other things. That he could actually.
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm baffled because there was a time when, well, Letterman used to stand at the back of the room at the Comedy Store in 1981 and see Jay Leno on stage and say to the other guys, "This is the one."
Really?
Right there, what you're looking at is the guy to beat, to emulate.
Were you present for that?
No, I didn't get here until '83, but the legend was pretty mighty. Here's a very important question from your fans. How many times has this life gem happened? While hanging out with a group of fellas, one of which says, excuse me, one of which is named Walter.
Oh boy, I feel like I know where this might be going.
Did one of the fellas say, I can't help you, man, because I don't know the first thing about grouting? But could anyone else show Walter?
Can we do that buffering joke on me?
Yes, we can.
Can you
look,
put that buffering?
Look at the camera and look into your lens and tell everyone your feelings of that question. There it is. Now you can look up there and see the buffer.
Buffering.
Sorry.
Yes, we used to do. Michael, go show Walter the house.
Oh no, these are good times for you. This one is from at Ryan's Pratt.
Oh, at Ryan's Pratt.
This is a 5 questions fun thing we like to play on the show. 5 questions, this or that, Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer. They're called Tweet Fives. Cue Dave Keckner.
T5, T5, T5 forever now.
That's right, it's a thing on the show. It comes from Twitter. At Ryan Spratt. Sandwich feet or Jimmy Jams?
Jimmy Jams.
Mike Black or Screech?
Mike Black.
Semiotics or idiotics?
Semiotics.
Sandwiches or Baja cuisine?
Sandwiches.
Doodles or mixtapes?
Doodles.
5 for 5.
Yes.
You got all 5.
Yes.
In a there's no correct answer contest.
So good.
These are clearly
Feels
fans
so
that
good.
know and love you, and that's nice.
Definitely. That was a very, very well, deep level 5 for 5.
Okay.
T5.
This next portion, it was highly requested by our research genius, J Mac, otherwise known to his family and friends as Jason McIntyre. When did your obsession with cats begin? This is all J Mac wanted us to talk about.
I think the obsession began probably when I met my first cat, Lester, many years ago.
Way before Tim.
Oh, way before Tim. Way before Tim. This was 1992. And
That means Lester's going to be 22.
Lester's not with us anymore.
No longer.
Lester is no longer with us.
That we know.
He died in my arms, so I'm pretty sure he's no longer with us. I watched him breathe his last breath.
I've had this experience as well, so maybe we should talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Because
Pretty intense.
That's life-changing.
Pretty intense.
Yeah. So when you first met Lester,
I first met Lester, I was at a party in New York City,
he was making drinks.
and
We do that with our cat. And we want to come home one night and the cat is just with a martini shaker.
like Tom Cruise in Bartender, flipping it around.
Cocktail.
2 paws. 2
cocktail.
paws. 2 paws because there's no thumbs. So she's
Well,
got
it
the
started with when we first got her, we wanted her to make us breakfast.
yeah.
If
It-
only.
Yeah, we're like, if we bring
One-
you home, you're gonna make us breakfast, right? And then
One
we
time.
expected her to see her like on like a step stool, like at the stove. Like,
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah.
But you have one cat. You have
Yeah.
the one?
Yes.
Okay.
Edith.
Edith?
Always wears a tuxedo.
And is that Edith
It's
Piaf?
It's Edie, and she was named after
Edie and
the-
Edie
Grey Gardens?
Sedgwick.
Sedgwick.
Oh, Edie Sedgwick. Okay.
So Lester, you at a party.
At a party, I overhear a young woman talking to someone else. I've got this cat. I'm going out of town to be in a play. Would you take my cat? This guy said no, and I said, I couldn't help but overhear. I'll take your cat. I think maybe I had a crush on this girl and was hoping that I could
Throw it in
impress
there.
her. Yeah.
Sure.
She brings her cat over. It's this cat, Lester, tuxedo, the whole deal. I never see her again. She goes away to do this play, and I never see her again.
To this day.
To this day.
Wow.
Although she was like on like some sci-fi show like Battlestar Galactica or something.
Sure.
I saw her in a TV show. That was when I saw her again. She did not come back for the cat. She did not come back to New York City as far as I know. But
Lester could not be happier.
Lester and I had a great
So how old is Lester
great run,
at that
14
point?
years. He was probably 2.
Wow.
And Lester and I were roommates for 14 years, and I got very attached, as we can, as
Sure.
guys can. And I think that was the beginning of it. There was such a connection there. There was such a connection there.
Are you in fact aware of why the Sphinx body is modeled after a cat?
No. Will you tell me?
The Egyptians believed, possibly still do, it is the last level of life before reincarnation takes a cat to human state. Cats are the last level of animal life, of evolution, before they come back as a human. That's how high of intelligence and appreciation of genius the Egyptians feel.
I did know that.
Towards the cat.
I did know that Egyptians really, really
Nutty about cats.
nutty about cats.
Yeah.
Kings were buried with their cats in the tomb with them.
Yeah. I bring this up because it's an interesting historical fact.
A very interesting historical fact.
Let's get back to Lester. So you guys are roommates for 14 years.
But wait a second.
Yeah.
There's a book out now that I'm reading. I wish I could remember the name of it. But it's all about cats. It's all about the history of cats, and it talks about when cats became domesticated, and it was like 5,000 years ago, and all this stuff.
Wow.
And they talked about that a little bit.
So you're saying that's not the book called Guys Can Be Cat Ladies Too?
No.
Right. Which again, you're welcome for my participation.
Yes, thank you.
You got a lot of people photographed with their cats.
Oh, are you in? Are you in the book with your cat? Oh. Like, what the hell? Why not?
It's your because it's his own fault. He
You
never
were kind
submitted
enough
the
to invite
photo.
me, and then I completely fucked it up. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is something we've bonded over, which is that you guys are probably even more obsessed with your cat than I am with mine.
Well, we also loved the name Tim. We are crazy for a strong human name given to a cat.
Tim.
That makes, and Tim, for whatever reason, was the least likely name I believe it could be given that moniker. The least likely name I would ever find on a cat. Oh,
Tim.
Tim. That's just spectacular.
Yeah,
It's
Tim.
it's like calling a dog Steve, if I may.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Tim.
And does that just happen? Was Tim named after?
Tim is named after Tim Russert.
I'm glad I asked.
Tim, Tim came into my life right around the time that we lost Tim Russert, and who I really loved Tim Russert, and I
Wanted to make that devotion.
made that devotion.
That's pretty great.
So his name is actually Tim Russert, but I call him Tim.
So he has a first and last name.
His first and last.
Because that's another debate for all animals, really.
Whether they
do
should
they
have
take
last
on their
names.
owners' last names? And I think that's
Oh.
weird because that's like marriage.
Yeah. No, we're not related.
Let's be clear, please.
be clear, yeah.
And don't confuse the animal for fuck's
Well, my
sake.
vet gave Edie my last name.
I think that's for filing purposes.
Yes. So she has. So
Edie
according to the
Fox.
vet, yes. So yes.
Yeah, it's interesting when you call your vet a lot of times when they ask you for your name, they're not asking you for your name.
No.
They're asking you for your pet's name.
And they're asking for the pet's last name.
Yes.
Also.
So they go, what's your name? And I'll say Michael Showalter, and they'll say, we don't have you in our files. And I'll say, oh, look
Tim
for Tim.
Showalter.
Tim Showalter. Oh, Tim. Yeah. Oh, hey, Tim. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's Tim, there's Sally, there's Louise, and there's Billy.
Right. There are 4
There are 4.
now. And how were they on the move from New York?
We got 4 carrying cases.
4 seats. You had to buy 2 extra seats on the
About
plane.
2 extra seats on the plane.
Carrying case underneath each.
Carrying case underneath each. Cat. So we had 2 extra seats.
Was
No cats on top of the seat. They were all underneath the chair. They were great.
Was there
They-
any kitty medications involved?
No, can't do that.
No.
I don't think you're allowed to do that. I don't think you're allowed
By
to
the
sedate your
police?
cat. But I don't think you are allowed to sedate your cat if you travel with it on an airplane.
For traveling purposes?
For traveling
Because I know at home they like to get pretty liquored up.
Yeah. They were great. They go into like that place that cats go sometimes, that cat place, and they were silent and motionless for 10 hours.
How is it, are any of them in the car, now that you're in Los Angeles, where a car is needed and you must transport them from the home to the vet?
Mm-hmm.
This is a difficult area for us.
So We have one cat, Tim, who gets very car sick, and he will throw up and poop.
How about the fight to go into the crate?
No, not an issue.
Not an issue?
Not an issue.
Well, then we need to talk. Because,
We'll actually
because
open the thing and they get in without us
Edie
even.
does, it reminds me of a cartoon.
Yeah.
Because it's literally
And
all
you have to
four
stuff
all
her.
four paws go out
Yeah,
and
and you have
grab
to stuff her,
something
yeah.
like on the edges of the crate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going in, you're out of your mind.
Yes.
And then, like,
Yes.
And the vet's like a
This sort of
5-minute
motion.
drive of that.
Yes.
The vet could not be
Yes.
closer.
I find that it's got to be a sneak attack. I mean, it's just got to be a sneak
I
attack.
tried the sneak attack. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever premeditated anything like the sneak attack that I tried to pull off last time, which was 100% failure. Which was, I set up the crate in the restroom that I could close the door and hide it at an angle so that gravity could help the last few moments.
Uh-huh.
Then,
Did you put some food in the crate?
no, I learned that later. This was just, gravity was going to be my gift.
Yeah.
Or my helper. And we went ass backwards, never showing Edie where she was headed.
Oh, okay.
This just horribly executed.
Uh-huh.
And then it became the cartoon with grabbing onto something. And it wasn't until I put the crate in the middle of the hallway, dropped some food, a couple pieces before, treats before, and then treats inside, and then went away. And guess what magically happened? Well, there's treats in here.
Yeah.
Just walked right in.
And then boom, close the door,
And
done.
then boom,
yes,
close the
yes,
door.
yes.
So I don't know
yes.
what manual I got that said it has to be a shoving
Shove
motion.
yeah.
Just a horrible
a
idea.
traumatic shoving motion.
Did you do any research for, this is a new book, by the way, I'm sure we have the cover of which we can throw up at some point from the interwebs, or from the Amazon probably, where you can buy it right now, you sons of bitches. Stop by Kevin Pollak's Chat Show homepage and click one time through to get to Amazon, if you would, on your way to buy. Guys can be cat ladies too. Is there any actual research involved, or you're just talking
a little bit.
Talking to men who love cats?
No, it's more of a kind of a manual. It's sort of in the style of like a tool instructional or something. It's the language is very kind of guy oriented, and there's how to pet a cat, how to hold a cat, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's some great YouTube videos also that you did
Right.
on the lifting and the holding of the cat. that
with
are
a
pretty
mechanical cat.
with a mechanical cat that looked also a little like stop animation. It was so well.
Yes.
Was there any stop animation involved?
No.
No, that's all mechanical.
That's just a robot cat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's an amazingly
I like
gifted robot cat.
Truly. I like the. There's the cover of the book. I like the artist here.
Yeah.
Not fond of the name that he's going by. I'm not a big fan of Son of Alan. That's the name that's the moniker he uses, Son of Alan. And
Little
while
son
I
of-
admire
son
the
of Sam-ish.
stick-to-itiveness
Yeah.
of That's My Name,
Yeah.
it reeks of hipster.
Yeah.
Did you find him in Brooklyn?
He's actually British.
Even better.
He's actually a Brit.
You know what the Brits call to hipsters?
Hipsters.
Nope.
What? What?
You said the word hipsters
In
with a British accent.
Yeah. What do they call them?
Jamie, what do the Brits call hipsters?
Dickheads.
Correct.
Is that true?
It is true.
Because they don't like them.
I mean, it is as instantly used and accepted as hipsters is to us. Dickheads. So Son of Alan
Yeah, I
must in fact be, if he's British. There, I've said it.
I've never met him.
But
I actually have never met him. I talked to him on the phone.
that's the world we live in.
I talked to him-
Wait, you talked to him on the phones. This happened in 2008.
No, Kevin.
No texting, no emailing?
Some emailing, but we actually spoke on the phone.
Weird.
And he has a rich, silky British accent. He does seem like a youngish guy. Yeah, I don't know why he says his name is like he has a normal name.
So, how did you find out he wanted to be credited in the book?
That's his name. That's his artist name. It's like the Edge or whatever. Bono Edge. It's a
artist formerly known as
Yeah.
Son of Alan.
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because see, in my situation, I would have said, how do I hire Alan? Why do I need Son of? I'd rather go right to Alan.
Yeah.
Did you? But I do love his work
Me too.
in the book a lot.
Me too. He's a very, very good. He's got a very good thing going on. Very good aesthetic.
Yeah. And is it true that the book is really about how to be a better fella?
Some levels.
In some levels,
On
in some ways.
levels.
Right?
Would you agree that your, I think this is something you guys could probably speak to, would you agree that your
Cat has made us better people?
well, or that your relationship to your cat has maybe helped you be a more sensitive husband?
I've learned to not shove Jamie into a crate. That it's a no-win situation. No. Yeah. No. Better.
Helps you get in. You know
It helps the relationship. You mean?
Maybe helps you get in touch with your feminine side.
Well, there's no question. There's a bonding effect. I would liken to having children. That's the other thing, is that it's fun to talk to people with children and cats.
Yeah, that's about to be me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does your wife know?
I don't want to jinx it. She does know, or she does now if she's watching live.
Congratulations, honey, you're pregnant. What world would that be? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Big changes coming my way.
Is this breaking news?
This is not breaking news.
No.
No. This is.
She's due next week.
Yeah, more or less.
Really?
More or less. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would like. This is a perfect opportunity, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
For us to take care of a little business.
I hope that you do.
Okay. We're going to talk about
Squarespace, or what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about when we come back. We're going to talk about
Adam Carolla's show on Spice Network, or whatever.
Your involvement in
Spike Network.
Earwolf. Your new involvement with your podcast with the Michael Ian Black.
Yes, we're very happy to be part of the Earwolf family of podcasts.
Yeah, it's a pretty spectacular family, and
Yeah.
I want to thank them as well as Catch a Contractor.
But at dinner with this family, it's hard to get a word in edgewise.
It is. With the Earwolf family, very hard to get.
Podcasts.
Yes, family of podcasts.
Family dinner at that family, it's very hard to get a word in edgewise.
Because everyone's talking.
Everyone's talking.
They got a microphone and headphones.
You got the Sklars, you got Kevin Pollak, you got Scott Ackerman, you got all these people. It's hard to get a word in edgewise.
Everybody's talking. At me. Can't get a word in. Don't know what I'm saying. How'd this get made? Is that other one you like?
How did this get made? Yeah, he mentioned Sklar. Oh, Matt Besser's Improv for Humans.
Oh, Improv for Humans we now saw live at Sketchfest, which we're also going to talk about your recent experience at
I think we plug Sketchfest too much. I'm just going to put it out
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
I think we need to stop talking about it.
Well, it's over.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
So, done.
It's over now. It
be
won't
clear.
happen again for another year.
Let's be clear, everybody. It's over. And now...
Did you get a Sketchfest T-shirt, by the way?
Sure.
Being serious, have
Yes, I did.
you ever had a nicer material touch your skin than the material?
I sleep in the shirts all the time. I love them.
I emailed David Owen, one of the organizers of that festival, to say, where can I get these T-shirts in plain? Because
Did he just email you back, fuck you?
No, he emailed me back. I happen to like the shirts a lot too. I'm going to look into that.
He didn't know the company that was
thought
making
Oh, he
was
knows the
headline
company,
T-shirts.
but it's he
Oh, yeah,
knows
that's-
the company,
that's a
but they
company.
all have.
different.
It's
fabric.
funny. No, it's funny things on the. They make T-shirts all with funny stuff on them.
Yes.
So I'm saying, can I get the T-shirt, just the plain T-shirt in different colors, without any logo-shirt?
Hold the caricature.
Hold the caricatures.
Yeah.
Jesus is my homeboy.
All right.
And what have you?
Exactly. All right, we're going to come back to that after this business, and thank you very much. Catch a Contractor. We've got Spike's Catch a Contractor sponsoring today's episode of the Kevin Pollak Chat Show. Have you ever been canned, or conned, I should say, by a contractor? Have you been canned? If so, then we've got the show for you. If
That's
not,
a can tractor.
we've still got an incredibly entertaining show for you. Watch Catch a Can Tractor on Spike. Nope.
Koch a can tractor.
We should maybe start this over. Catch a Contractor on Spike, starring Adam Carolla as a master carpenter, which in fact he is in real life, with a taste for vengeance. It starts with American families who've been conned by low-down, dirty sons of bitch contractors. Carolla and his team locate the cheapskates, bring them to face their mess. The contractors then get three choices. Give the money back. A. B. Come back and fix the work, you bastard. C. The homeowners will see them in court. Just as these contractors are stumbling around trying to defend their terrible work, Adam brings in the families to confront the dirtbags who ripped them off. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll re-examine, your own haven. It's where justice and comedy meet to make great television. Catch a Contractor starring Adam Carolla premieres Sunday. It's 1 week from now. Is it 1 week from now? This date can't be right then, because it says February 28th. I believe Sunday is March 2nd. Sunday, February 28th. So either Sunday or February 28th, 10 p.m., 9 Central, after an all-new episode of Bar Rescue on Spike. That's Catch a Contractor on Spike.
I enjoy the Bar Rescue.
Jamie loves the Bar Rescue.
What is it? It's basically Kitchen Nightmares, but it's a bar.
Yes.
They go into bars that are failing, and it's really interesting because it's all the owner. It's like the guy came into some money and is like, I've always wanted to own a bar, and it has no clue what he's doing, and then they try to help it. And then my favorite part is to watch the episode and then go on Yelp
and find out how the bar's doing.
Yeah, and it's usually like 95% of the time it's
Closed.
gone.
Did you ever watch the one with the hair salons on Bravo?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Catch a Hairdresser?
No.
It was called
because it's a woman, Tabitha.
Tabitha.
Yeah, something Tabitha
Tabitha's
something.
Takeover.
Yeah, something
Tabitha's
like that, yeah.
Takeover.
You're out of business, bitch. Was it that show? Wait, I've got one more piece of business here. Yeah, don't you know? Have you heard about Squarespace yet? Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. Squarespace really cares about design, and they actually do. I use them my own damn self. This is not from the copy. Kenny, you can stop the teleprompter. I use them my own damn self to create kevinpollack.tv, and I love Squarespace. Honestly and truly, it makes my life a lot easier. I wish my voice didn't sound like it was the same patter as the commercial, because I really am being sincere right now. I am horrible at interacting with a website that I'm supposed to have access to, and I do want to actually thank, in the middle of this spot, the Squarespace folks for making it easier for me. Now back to the spot. All their templates are extremely clean and allow your content to be the focus of your website. If you need a website, trust me, as I just suggested, Squarespace is your best option. Plus, this is kind of cool, every Squarespace plan is now fully able to support commerce functionality. That means exactly what it sounds like. Every single Squarespace customer can now begin selling products online. Start your free trial with no credit card required at squarespace.com. If you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the offer code, that's my last name, Pollack, spelled P-O-L-L-A-K, and you'll get 10% off. And to let them know that we sent you. Thank you for that. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional website. Go to squarespace.com, you sons of bitches. More water, if I may. How about another hot coffee?
I was thinking about it, but
I would like another round myself. How about everyone's favorite intern, David Mandel, bring in a couple of more? I like the Cafe Americano. What can I get you, sir?
that sounds delicious.
Would you like a Splenda in that?
No, thank you.
Would you like anything in it?
A little milk on the side,
Little
please.
bourbon? Milk on the side? On its way. Thank you, David. Kenny, start the timer. Let's see how long it takes the world's greatest intern to get 2 coffees. I read that your exhaustive research for the book consisted of going to the New York Public Library and Googling cat facts. Why not do that from home?
I think that actually that is what I did.
It made a better story to say you did it at the New York Library?
Yeah.
That's great. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Very, very early on, when I started out in stand-up comedy, around the same time as Dana Carvey in San Francisco. And then the moment things started going a little well, and I had to give a couple of interviews, I would say to him, I'm bored with the sound of my own voice, which is nearly impossible given my level of narcissism. What do you do to make these things interesting? He said, I exaggerate every single fact about myself or what I do in the interview.
Yes.
You're in movies. Do you like to go to movies? Would be the lame-ass question.
Well, I very much like to go to movies.
And then he would suggest that I answer this way, or thusly. I go to a film every single day, and I've not missed a single day in 3.5 years. And so I started doing that. That was the most interesting man alive. Thank you, Dos Equis. And then one of these interviewers 10 years later said, are you still going to a movie every single day? It's now been 10 more years. And I went, oh, fuck. So,
well, I actually think in the book, and I'd have to have the book with me to see this, but I actually think in the book, I said something to the effect of, you know, to research this book, I went to the New York Public Library and went into the stacks and and then I actually crossed it out so in the book it's actually been crossed out. And all that, so it's like I went into the book, and then it's like so it's like I'm lying to make myself look good, but then I admit, no, I really just Googled cat facts.
It was
Does that make sense
you
what I'm
have a
saying?
visual gag in your book.
I have many visual gags in the book.
Well, let's be clear about that.
But going back to you, what was your first joke? Do you remember? Back in those
First
days,
joke?
in San Francisco with Dana Carvey?
First of all, the act was just impressions, but when I eventually attempted to do something funny of my own thoughts, it could not have been more lame when I look back on it now.
Do you remember what it was?
To the point where I tried this visual gag. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to admit this. Kenny, don't hold it against me. Do you ever play the game of tennis, sir?
Oh, every couple times a week.
Really?
Absolutely.
Do you remember the fine makers of the tennis rackets by the name of Head?
Of course.
I think they make ski equipment as well.
Head.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the outside of the cover of those tennis rackets is the word head. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I thought it would be humorous. And I don't even remember how or why. But at some point there was a visual gag where I brought up this tennis racket cover and said, really, I'm just...
Where's my milk on the side?
Yeah, yeah. I think are these both Americanos, by the way? This is great, great podcasting. So even though it looks like there's milk in there, look at that. It's just a foamy top that comes...
Oh, it's good, it's good, it's good.
But we do need some milk on the side.
No, it's good.
No, he put it in?
Something's in there.
How dare he?
There's
No.
something in there.
There's something in there. It's called your finger, sir. So at some point I literally...
By the way, I have a very...
You have a trifecta.
I have a whole coterie of...
a
So head.
cornucopia of liquids. So I said I sure could use a little, and then held that up.
Oh, you did a straight up...
Well, I mean, I'd like to think it must have been more subtle than that. Like I was twirling it like I didn't know I had it in my hand or something.
I love it.
What I was really interested in, what I
love
really
it.
wanted from tonight, what I was hoping for.
Uh-huh.
I
love it.
Just the worst.
I love it.
But at some point it becomes about an economy.
I had the same joke with Dunlop, and I didn't get any laughs for it.
But that's so much funnier now.
So I said, what I'm hoping for is a little...
Dunlop.
No one laughed.
Dunlap. They probably thought, oh, he wants... Well, what I found in time is that, and Leno, as the master, used to hold court for the young comedians. He would have a Thanksgiving, which we kind of do at our place. We call Thanksgiving for Orphans, where people who have chosen to not go home to see their families would gather. And in this case, comics, specifically. Leno would have comics up to his house who didn't travel home for Thanksgiving to come have a big Thanksgiving feast at his home with his wife, Mavis. And it was pretty spectacular when you were first in town, especially for a guy like myself. And one of the things I remember him saying while holding court at said occasion, where are the jokes? Get to the joke. Yeah, just get to the joke. Because I would tell him about the bit, and the bit was 45 minutes, and then the joke would come. Yeah, why don't you just get to the joke? And in fact, writing is about an economy of words. At some point, it's about editing.
Yeah.
You teach a film writing class, a screenwriting class, I believe, at the NYU. Yes, or did?
I taught screenwriting at the the esteemed NYU Graduate Film School for 6 years. Yes, at Tisch.
At the Tisch.
At the Tisch.
You taught this for 6 years?
For 6 years. Until I moved out here.
Incredibly enjoyable for you.
Yes.
Passing along
yes.
any and all information.
Absolutely.
How difficult for you to put together the format each year for 6 years in terms of what you were going to teach?
Very good question. And the answer is that there was a curriculum. So
you had to create the curriculum is what I'm asking.
Nope.
Oh.
No, the way the classes worked was that they would already have it. So it was actually perfectly suited for me, which is I have done lecture. I actually have done that.
Yeah.
That's not for me nearly as fun or as rewarding or as effective as the students would have already written a script, and we would workshop it, and I would essentially lead a critique.
Wow.
So really it was a critique-oriented class. The students already have their material, they already have the assignment written, they would write that. Over the summer they would come in having already written their film.
Wow.
And the class would be about, this week we're going to work on your film, and then next week we're going to work on Susie's film, and then the week after that we're going to work on, and I mean script.
Yeah. And how many students in the class? on average?
Between 12 and 15.
14 is the correct answer. Sorry. This must have been something you looked forward to every year.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I enjoy the process, the creative process. I'm very passionate about it.
Have you thought about perhaps lending these towns to the Sundance Institute screenwriting?
Oh, if they wanted to have me, I would be.
Have you heard about because that's a big annual thing for them.
Yeah, I would be thrilled to do that, yeah. But it's not a very good way to make a good living, unfortunately.
Teaching?
Yeah.
In general?
Unfortunately.
You would think you would have learned that with both of your parents being at university as professors, but that's a much better living, I would think, than being a 6-week course at Tisch.
No, because Tisch is it's the same thing essentially. It's not a 6-week course. It's school. They're there for it's graduate school.
You taught a full semester.
I taught full. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yes,
it's quite a commitment on your part.
I went to faculty meetings.
Every year?
Every year I went to faculty meetings. I attended administrative committees.
And was it easy for you not to be subversive?
I was on committees, Kevin.
So the question is silly.
I was on committees to determine,
what the curriculum would be.
What the curriculum would be, or are we going to increase office hours, blah, blah, blah. I mean, because a big part of being on a faculty is dealing with administrative
and
stuff.
caring.
And I had office hours, and I had, all kinds of things like that. I went to functions, I went to things.
I'm hearing this, but I also have to wonder how often you heard this. Michael, please.
That's it?
Yeah.
Probably not enough, but I like it. But I get into all that. I loved that.
Yeah, you did.
I loved it. So I was a faculty.
Well, you did it 6 years straight before you moved out here, which was quite recent.
Yeah.
So you must looking to set up residency at one of the fine universities here in town, perhaps.
No.
Nope.
No, I'm out here to
for the next
to work on the railroad. I'm out in LA to work on the railroad.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. I am out here to bang.
May we then?
I have a hammer and I'm ready to bang rocks.
Okay, then let's talk for the young screenwriters out there. Mm-hmm. Who may need, because I was going to try to steal a quick lesson from you for them, if they should they not.
Kevin,
perfect. That's, by the way, look how much you didn't spill much at all.
But but I did spill so much.
It looks like the entire table is covered.
Obviously, you'll edit that out. The part where Michael was doing three-card Monty. The part where Michael was doing 3-card Monty with the full cup of coffee and then you'll obviously edit that out because that's not going to be entertaining for anybody.
Except for this part. Paper towel is much better than Kleenex. Come on right in. Don't be afraid.
Actually, you know what? I didn't spill that much. Actually, I managed
I'm looking
not
at
to
the
get
cup.
that much. And I actually didn't spill that much on my person either.
Well, that's the good news. How about the electrical equipment? How did it do?
I think it did okay.
I'd like to thank the fine folks at Earwolf for these paper towels.
Oh, man.
Every other week, the fine folks at Earwolf send us a new roll of paper towels. And I fail to mention it each and every week.
So anyway, so you asked me, you said before the show, I just want to tell people watching, you said before the show, yes. Michael, will you promise to do the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit?
I actually said any physical shtick.
No, but you specifically said the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit.
And then I specified that I would like to see, if possible.
And I said,
and once you started, I thought, wow, this is it. It's happening. And I didn't have to prompt him. He's just going into it. And then, like any
you
great...
really want me to do the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit? But that means I'm going to have to spill some coffee on me.
Now we understand why David Wayne, when he does a card trick, looks straight up at something and doesn't take his eyes off it.
Anyway, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just did the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit.
Trademarked, by the way.
Trademarked.
Yeah, let's be clear to the kids out there watching. Speaking of the kids, I was in fact asking...
No, if you look up comedy, you'll see who's on first, Abbott and Costello. You'll see
Bill Murray from the Royal Tenenbaum.
Bill Murray, and then you'll see the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit, Michael Showalter.
Yes, from our show. Go ahead,
so
anywhere.
What were we
anywhere is good.
About?
Just give it a fling.
What were we talking about?
I was going to try to get a free lesson for the kids on the screenwriting who didn't have time to attend. However, I would like him to... I would like them to have, it's about commitment, first of all. Learn that. If you learn nothing
lesson
else.
number 1.
Commit to the bit.
Commit to the bit
Yeah.
and never say you're sorry.
It doesn't matter how badly
Never
things
say
go.
you're sorry.
No, which you didn't, and
Which
I appreciate.
didn't, and I wouldn't.
Nope.
Because it was on purpose, because you asked me before the show. You said, Michael, if there's one thing you do in the 2 hours that you're here, in the 2.5 hours that you're doing the show, please do the 3-card Monte coffee cup bit.
Speaking of which, we're out of time. You are a New Yorker through and through, born in Princeton, New Jersey, but raised in the greater New York area.
That's right. I consider myself an East Coaster.
For sure, you have spent time in the Manhattan, in the Brooklyn. You were in the trenches. You were dug in.
Yeah.
The decision was made at some point recently.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess. Let's go west.
Yes. Go west, young man.
Was this, in fact, after the news of the impending birth, this decision? Not that they were connected.
No. Yes and no. It was
Around the same time.
It was around the same time. It was actually my wife is a nurse.
And
she was in nursing school in New York City, and it was like when she's done with that, when she's ready to not be in school anymore, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time that we that I go hawk my wares out in Hollywood, California, where
the sun never stops shining.
Where the sun never stops shining, and where the heavy hitters are. I've been out in the minor leagues of New York City, in the bush leagues.
Well, let me ask you this, because although it's anything but, and certainly is talked about in much book and film.
Where should I put my gum?
Barton Fink comes to mind. That's what the coaster's actually for. Clearly not for any of the liquids.
Barton Fink.
I don't know if you remember the Barton Fink, but he was a New York.
Of course I remember.
Yeah, okay. So he's a New York theater writer who was asked to come out and to write for the motion pictures. One of my favorite Tony Shalhoub supporting roles as the studio guy.
I have something to throw this.
Here you go.
I'm done.
Look at this. Nope, gone. I think I threw all the wrapping devices at you. Thanks.
So, so what happened? So keep talking about Barton Fink.
So I love the writing for the theater. Come out and write for the motion pictures, and it's an artist struggling with basically, I think, selling his soul and giving up his art. In San Francisco, California, where I am from, Los Angeles was the ultimate sellout. You're not going down there, are you? And in fact, San Francisco, it's in your DNA and raised to hate.
There's a whole North California, no-cal, so-cal.
It's one way.
Silliness.
Sports-wise, it's both ways, but art-wise, it's one way. Los Angeles doesn't even know San Francisco's there.
Right.
I think everything north of Santa Barbara, the road drops off. They keep sending out ships. They don't come back. My Act, 1978. So, I'm curious, with the art of writing and performing being, if I may, theatrical in the broad way, a reinvention of alternative comedy with Stella and other efforts. Did Los Angeles also represent, well, that's where you go to just make money. I'm not doing that. There's nothing there but to sell out. Was it that?
There was that, but I also think that it took me a very long time to come out here. I'm not a young man anymore.
And to come out.
I still haven't. Anyway, it took me a long time because of that feeling of, I don't know.
But that was a part of it.
That was a part of it. But now that I'm out here,
say it.
No, I don't even know what I was going to say. It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. And I don't know if that things have changed. Is there some? If maybe you could say that. I don't know if it's that things have changed or I've changed.
Here's what I think, if I may.
Please.
There are so many like-minded people who came from someplace else also that ended up here, that there is a shared experience now for real artists or artists interested in commercial.
Yeah.
Whatever your interests are.
I think it was important to me that I define myself a little bit.
First.
First.
Yeah.
And that I that I come here somewhat on my own terms.
Right.
Somewhat, because I'm by no means here on my own terms. That being said, it was important to me that I know who I was, that I established an identity for myself before coming out here and being told who I was. Let me say that, put it that way.
Yeah, no, people are very excited about you being here as opposed to, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. And I had that too.
That's a chasm.
I had that too. I did the pilot seasons many years ago.
Sure.
I did the round of meetings, the get in the rental car and drive around, meet everybody, that kind of thing, and you know.
Anything better than the general meeting? I mean, it's the most satisfying part of show business.
Well, it's my opportunity to tell development executives what Paul Rudd's like in person. It's my opportunity to tell.
Is he our new Jack Lemmon? You can never get tired of that question.
To be.
I've asked it myself.
Yeah.
I've asked him.
Hey, Mike, glad you're here all the way from New York to talk to us. What's Paul Rudd like as a person? I love that. I love being able to tell people what my more famous and successful.
But by the
friends
way, everyone who has
and he's a great guy. We all know.
Yeah.
As we all know, he's a great guy.
He's the new Tom Hanks in terms of being the nicest guy, as well as being talented.
That's right.
So talented at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah, he's up for election. But by the way, you are in that regard among an endless line of people who love and have worked with him who are constantly also berated. One of my brief conversations with a lifelong hero, Albert Brooks, he was about to do This Is 40 with the Rudd. And I said, oh, you're about to work with Paul Rudd, I see. That's great. You know, he's our Jack Lemmon. I foolishly said that out loud.
Wait, is he our Jack Lemmon?
And Albert Brooks said, everyone keeps telling me that. Well,
I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
Never. I would never say that about Paul Rudd. I would
feel
never
as though I've offended you.
You haven't offended me, but I don't see that at all. I think of Tom Hanks, for sure.
Yeah. And arguably more classically handsome. So maybe it's a hybrid.
I mean, this is a little bit of a subject.
By the way,
I loved Tom Hanks growing up. Like when you talked about influences, like Tom Hanks when he was like young and doing like, you know, Nothing in Common and Volunteers and stuff. He was my idol. Bosom Buddies, one of my favorite shows.
Sure.
Okay, you were saying.
No. I was just going to say that.
Like people don't realize how funny Tom Hanks was when he was. I don't think people now that he's done so much dramatic work.
Right.
He was the funniest guy on the planet.
Yeah. I agree, and also around a time that everyone was worshiping at the altar as they should, of Bill Murray, arguably one of the funniest humans that ever lived. Hanks had to stand out on his own. There was the Tom Hanks, there was the Michael Keaton.
I was just about to say.
Who were both influenced by
the Love Brokers.
Come on. Night Shift.
Come on.
One of the absolute tour de force comedic performances of any century.
Best movie ever.
Gotta put it. Let's break down the word prostitution.
Yeah.
Prost. Just the whole.
It's one of my favorite movies ever of all time. I wonder if people know it.
I think.
Mr. Mom and Night Shift are like two super amazingly, brilliantly funny movies.
Jamie, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. I quote Mr. Mom quite a bit.
Oh,
Jack,
yeah. What's two? But I know what that is. That what he says in the movie?
To Martin Mull.
No, but does he say 220? Those
220, 221.
Those are
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Yeah.
I also
what does he say? Like what? It's a 2x4, right?
Yeah.
No,
well,
he's saying what kind of wood do you use?
Martin Mull is talking about the outlet, the electrical outlet, and he can tell that Michael Keaton's a little full of shit. So he goes. So you're going to use 220, like testing him.
Yeah.
220, 221,
whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Because I always yell at you, Jack, you're doing it wrong. North to pick up, south to drop off.
You're reminding me of, you know who else did some really funny movies? Was Val Kilmer.
Yes.
Val Kilmer made two brilliantly funny movies. He did the spy one, the Zucker movie, Top Secret.
Very much so. They just did a big thing at Sketchfest.
And he did Real Genius.
Real Genius. Yeah.
And he's brilliantly funny in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing people should revisit is the young Val Kilmer, because it was, there's no stopping this guy.
No.
Tom Hanks' huge influence. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really become a writer till much later. So I'm curious how you did drift towards the writing, because, I Maybe it was the sketch where you're organically writing with your friends to take on stage and perform. Because in stand-up, you know, you're writing a very specific one act, a very specific one performer's voice. You're not writing stories per se. I was much older before I tried to even tell a story on stage, maybe well into my 40s. And yet they would say, you know, you're a storyteller. No, I'm not. Because it just felt like lying. Who were the comedic writers? Because also I remember being insanely influenced by a young Samuel Clemens, long before he was famous Mark Twain. Some of his sardonic
I'm not familiar with his
social
early
commentation at the turn of that century. I mean, before Will Rogers, there was a touring Samuel Clemens.
Yes.
Selling out.
And then he changed his name?
Venues.
I didn't know that.
And then wrote under the name Mark Twain.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But that voice of a satirist, that voice of social commentary,
right.
That voice of what would now be considered snarking on Twitter, about that evolution.
Yes.
Were there inspirations in a literary sense for you, for comedically, the way that maybe a Tom Hanks or Michael Keaton were performing?
Woody Allen, big Woody Allen fan. I liked, you know, I actually never had dreams of being in front of the camera. That kind of just happened by accident. That happened because, so in a way, I think I've always wanted, the writing has always been the thing that I most wanted to do.
That's what you thought the plan was.
Yeah, or actually the plan was to become an academic, going back to how this whole thing started. I mean, you do what you know, and what I knew was teaching at a college.
But you were at the Ha Network at 19.
Yeah, that's true.
A little 180 degrees from the academic.
I gotta think about that.
Studying the Borscht Belt.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's where the love.
Well, because I think I wanted to. I think I wanted to go to okay, I saw an improv group. I saw my sister went to college. I saw them do it. So it was like, I wanted to do the comedy group thing, but I also really thought I wanted to teach. I wanted to maybe teach cinema studies. I was very interested in cinema studies. So like I had gotten very interested in like Alfred Hitchcock movies, and I just liked movies. It wasn't even about comedy. It was like, I really liked movies. Just you know, I took a westerns class, and I loved westerns, and I loved genre movies of any kind, and so I wanted to maybe write about movies. I wanted to write criticism about movies, that kind of thing.
And let's also face it, the best teachers or professors would be the ones who are amazing performers.
That's very true.
You know, that's very true. They're compelling to watch. You can't take your eyes off them.
I love teaching so much because it's actually just like doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
You have a rapt audience, and you're trying to inspire them and get them to have feelings and emotions and laugh and all that different stuff. So it's very performative, being a teacher. Yeah.
And they're even captive.
They are very captive. I like the words rapt.
Sure.
So that's very true. Yeah. So for me, the performing thing was never
right.
I think of it as like what the.
Well, when you say by accident, it happened.
Well, I say that I didn't start doing a comedy group at NYU thinking it would turn out to be the next 30 years of my life. I mean, I met Michael Black when I was a freshman in college, and Mike and I are still doing comedy together. Obviously, I wasn't like, I'm going to meet some people my first month of college, and they're going to be the people I work with for the rest of my life. David Wayne,
no
Michael
way to
Black,
see that plan.
Ken Marino.
Yeah.
It was more like, I'm going to do this, it'll be fun, and then after that, I'll do something else, and and then, so it did, the State, which started as a comedy group my freshman year of NYU, is still my career. It's still, David Wayne and I just made a movie together, and Michael Black and I are doing this podcast. That's still who I am. It's very weird. But I think of it as like, I think the thing that gets you up in the morning thinking creatively is the thing that's most true to you. So I know some actors who, how am I going to play that role is what wakes them up in the morning.
Right.
How am I going to tackle that role? I've never come close to that thought. I've never even come within 100 yards of that thought.
As a writer or a performer?
As a performer.
As a performer.
How am I going to do this part? It's never crossed my mind. But I could get woken up in the middle of the night thinking, how am I going to fix that story beat or that joke or that line of dialogue or whatever.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
All these years later, you have the mind of a writer, not of a.
I think so.
Of a.
I also just don't have the discipline to stay in shape, which is a big part of being an actor.
Yeah.
To be buff and attractive.
Oh, you mean physically in shape?
Yeah, like I don't have the. I'm too lazy to be an actor, I think.
I see.
Being an actor is like being an athlete.
If you're Matt Damon.
Yeah, or any of these people. You gotta stay in shape. You gotta work out. You gotta eat right.
I'm on the elliptical from my heart. You know, the dream pocket is the character actor.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me tell
Vigoda.
You can, yeah.
Let it go.
What are you saying?
I'm talking about you. I mean,
yeah.
You've let it go a little bit, but that's...
How great was Dominic Dunn's Power, Privilege, and Justice?
The best.
Right?
Why are we talking about that? But it was the best. Did I talk about...
I wanted you to know that your dossier is widespread.
Well, I'm big on murder.
Yes.
I watch a lot of murder.
Small town murder in particular for me. Power, Privilege, and Justice, obviously, it went to some small towns, to some very powerful people within those small towns. But the small town murder shows, that's been one of the greatest gifts of the television.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah. Do you remember the City Confidential?
Sure.
Paul Winfield?
Paul Winfield. The burning, the hot mist rises off of the Louisiana bayou. You know, like tensions run hot in Baton Rouge.
The openings especially. Savannah is a peaceful town. People come and people go. They stop by the general store and get themselves a soda. But on the night of July 17, 1979, things took an awful turn. Yeah, I can't get up for that.
No.
That's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a muggy town, but the real sweat happened on the street where this murder took place. That's just a paraphrasing of what you would have done much more articulately.
Oh, so beautiful. So why aren't we writing that?
What about that guy? Do you ever see the guy? He's got white hair. He's on like, he does like 2020 or he does one of, and he's got white hair.
He ended up being the voiceover on Anchorman.
And he's got a crazy voice.
I think, isn't that the voiceover on the Anchorman? You know, the narrator guy of San Diego, and he talks about all the group coming together? Look him up.
He's got a crazy
Put up his visual on the screen,
please. He's got a crazy murder voice. I don't think he's that guy, though.
No?
No, I can't.
He's got the crazy murder voice?
He's got a Paul Winfield type voice, but he does these other shows. Anyway, I want to say Peter something.
Not Peter Graves.
Not Peter Graves.
Yeah, it can't be.
Not Peter Graves.
Because early on he was...
oh, yeah, Peter Graves.
Mysteries of...
oh, really?
He took over, I think. Who's the guy that...
well, there's the A&E guy.
The Untouchables that makes Joff crazy.
Yeah, Peter Graves. From the...
But before him, Robert Stack.
Oh, Robert Stack.
Yeah, if you've heard of this person, I've seen these numbers. Because there's a guy I'm thinking of.
No. Oh, he's amazing. He's one of my favorite guys. What's his name?
Bill Curtis.
Bill Curtis is amazing. No. He's on... what are the shows? There's 2020 and then there's 48 Hours. Dateline.
Dateline.
He's a Dateline guy.
But he's not the Catch a Predator.
Not that guy. No.
That's one of Bill Hader's.
This is a long
characters
conversation where we're not being able to figure out the guy.
By the way, when I listen to other podcasts or O&A and they get into this groove, what's the guy with the thing?
And it just goes on.
There's nothing worse.
No.
Because I start screaming at the radio.
Yeah.
The answer.
Same here.
Like,
are you looking? Are you guys looking for it?
And the outer.
I came up with Bill. I thought you meant Bill Curtis. That's what I looked at.
His white hair and.
By the way, this could be the new game show. You just have two elder statesmen.
Yeah.
One clearly older than the other, but they're just trying to remember what's the, and then the three contestants line up and they buzz in, and we're giving the clues.
Yes.
The thing where the guy goes down by the lake with the paddle. Yes, Timmy.
That's what.
Peter Graves. Ding, ding, ding.
He's on like Dateline. He does Dateline. I'm pretty sure he's one of the Dateline guys.
Let's pull it up. Let's pull up the Dateline, guys.
Come on, Dateline reporter.
Sons of bitch.
White hair.
All right, so you decide we're going to move west. I'm going to get myself a staff job. You'd been doing the pilot writing with a writing partner of the television pilot season after season, and one of the great, brilliant agents, there he is.
That guy.
By the way,
that guy.
If I may, and this might be weird, but it's common knowledge, it's information available, Keith Morrison, Matthew Perry's stepfather.
Really?
There you have it.
Well, you need to hear his voice, because do you know his voice?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I do.
He has a very Paul Winfield
It's fantastic.
Voice. Yeah. You're like, why did you do that? I'm not doing it very well.
but that is literally from a script that he once.
Why did you do that? Terrible, terrible. I have no impersonation.
So one of the brilliant agents says you should get on a show on staff, you guys.
Well, instead of writing a network pilot every year,
yeah,
and then have it not be shot.
Why don't you guys get on staff and experience what it's like to be in the room?
Right, and work from the inside out.
Be in a writer's room.
Rather than from the outside in.
Don't try to create and sell a show. Get on a show that's sold.
That's right.
So you guys got yourself on the Rebel Wilson show, Super Fun Night.
Yes.
This whole first season.
That's right.
So you're in the writer's room.
I was a consulting producer on the show, was my official title.
But you also ended up being credited as writing a couple of episodes.
Oh yeah, I wrote a couple episodes.
Yeah, so
sure.
let's not, you know.
That's right.
The consulting thing is a negotiation title.
It's a negotiation title.
So you're in the writer's room, and how was the experience for you?
It was...
not being in charge.
I was very much not in charge.
Yeah.
And
if I may, sorry for interrupting, but you really want to stress total freedom throughout 98.2% of your entire writing career.
That's right.
Zero control.
I basically never had a real job. This is the first real job I've ever had.
It's funny how it seems that way.
Yeah. I've always been...
As a filmmaker with an IMDb page.
Very
sake.
fortunate to be able to...
Freelance.
Do my own thing.
Gypsy.
Yeah. Am I the richest guy in the world? No.
You know what?
That's the trade-off.
I'd like you also to look that up.
That's the trade-off.
Because we can Google where you are on the list.
That's the trade-off of doing your own thing your whole life.
You better believe it.
You're not the richest guy in the world.
But that's what I meant about coming to LA, because that's the artist who's never going to be the richest guy in the world unless he's Basquiat.
Jean-Michel Basquiat?
Mm-hmm. I just was listening to a report on the NPR about how one of his paintings just went for $30 million.
Right, he's also dead.
Sure.
Very dead.
Wildly.
Yes.
Exhaustedly.
And I think they'd be worth less if he weren't. But anyway.
Funny how the art world works.
Yes.
So then, the artist, never going to be the richest guy, come out to LA, you know what? What are we killing ourselves for?
My soul's pretty big. I can sell a chunk of it off.
Sell a piece.
I can sell off a chunk of it.
Hold on to the important part.
Yes.
Like the integrity area.
Yes.
You're in the writer's room. You're working for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know that going in.
Yeah.
But do you, in fact, adjust and find a little happiness?
Very much so.
Well, look at that.
Very much so.
What have you been fighting? Why have you been pushing back?
It's that thing of that thing of I need you to know who I am, and then I can work for you.
Want me for my strengths?
I can't say it's the right thing or the wrong thing.
Right.
It's just was for me as I need to.
Or when the time is right. That's the hardest struggle. That's the guidebook that doesn't exist.
But it was actually very nice. It was very nice to go like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Right. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you make your vision as good as it can be. I'm here to execute someone else's game plan. And
Live in front of an audience, that show?
No, that's a single camera show.
It is a single camera show.
Yeah, and I mean, it was very challenging.
Yeah.
It was, but that wasn't necessarily about me being not in charge as much as just it's challenging to work on a show like that where you've got a big star, you've got showrunner and head writer, you've got a staff, you've got Conan O'Brien's company.
When you say big star, you of course are referring to the fact that she is
co-creator.
She is co-creator, and she's going to have a voice. She's going to have a say. She's going to have.
She may have even been the sole creator of the show. It's her show.
Right.
You have Conan O'Brien and his company. You have Warner Brothers, the studio. Mm-hmm. They have an opinion. You've got ABC, the network. That's a lot of opinions. That's a lot of moving parts.
That's a lot of, we decide before we get to, what does Michael think?
Oh, Michael's so far down that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by design. And
By
you know
design.
it going in, and that's the
know it
part I
going
want
in,
to
and
stress.
that's okay.
And you found happiness.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a rough patch, a learning curve, but absolutely, you know, met great people on the show and ended up having a very, very positive experience, a learning experience. I would do it again.
Worst moment of the rough patch? Let's just go there for a second.
Worst moment of
We
the
don't have
rough
to spend a lot of time there.
Worst moment of the rough patch.
Was it lower than a dead snake's belly in a wagon track?
Got to think about that. It was pretty bad.
Really?
Lowest moment was having the feeling that the script that we wrote was a piece of shit.
Was being decimated by others?
It looked like that might happen, yeah. The whole, and I think a lot of writers would say this, that's a rough moment where you've been working really hard on your script and then it like goes through the machine.
And it gets changed.
It gets changed. You know, you've put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
And it gets changed in ways that you wholly disagree with.
Not even necessarily. Just maybe you just feel like you thought you'd done really good work, and it looks like it's, you know, getting rewritten, every word of it.
But I would think that's one of the parts that you know going in is a guarantee.
Yeah.
It's right by committee.
I know.
I mean,
you're right.
But you did know it going in.
I did know that, yes.
And yet, because you had...
I think you still have this hope that you're going to be the one that is like, you did it, it's perfect.
Yeah, not one of these kids that just got here.
Yeah.
I came here with all this experience as a filmmaker and a writer.
Yeah.
And we just handed in a script, you're welcome. And look at that, they kept the title. And at least 11 words. Yeah, no, that's devastating.
Yeah.
But it is, in fact, something you can't even take personally, because it's got actually nothing to do with you.
Not at all.
You could have handed in the greatest script
Yes.
ever written.
Yes.
The exact same thing would have
That's right.
happened.
And
that's the part you have to remove.
That's right, and the sting of it did not last that long. There's a momentary ego moment of
Sure.
wounding occurs.
Yeah.
But then you
Did you come to that on your own? Did somebody pull you aside and say this happens to every single
no,
script?
I knew.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah.
No. I knew. I didn't complain. I didn't.
Well,
but
nobody
it's
wants
just
to hear it.
Yeah. So.
But it's interesting that you, even though you knew it was coming, even though it didn't take long to recover from it, there still was a pocket of reality, which was really thought this was going to be the one that they wouldn't have to rewrite within an inch of its life. Because man, did we're happy with it. And by the way, you should maybe consider the fact that we're happy with it, because we kind of hate everything. And this got past our last line of defense. We actually handed the fucker in.
That's right.
And that wasn't easy for us to do.
That's right.
And still you changed.
And I think you're describing how every writer feels.
Has to.
Every single writer feels that way.
Yeah.
That's hard. For me that's an interesting moment, because, but I didn't that was a momentary thing. It was not a big, like, I did not battle along with that. It was just, it's a quick sting.
Yeah.
It's a
And
quick
you've
sting.
been on every side of it. I mean, when you're writing and directing a film, say like Baxter,
Like Baxter.
you like a little improvisation on the set in the hands of the right performer.
Absolutely.
You encourage it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Make it your own.
Yeah. And by the way, the name of the game is rewrite this within an inch of its life, and I support 100% the people in charge's right and to do that.
Sure.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. And if it were your show that you were running, one of the pilots that you and your writer partner, pal, had created these last
That's right.
handful of pilot seasons, and you got your own writer's room, you better believe it.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's nice to know the sting still occurs.
Yeah.
Because you're human. Let's go back to the jury, see if they want to weigh in with anything. They do. Ready?
Yeah.
You're another shot at a tweet 5. Don't fuck this one up.
Ooh.
You got 5 out of 5 last time. Keckner, what do you got?
T5.
Thank you. Jesus, what's he, asleep at the wheel back there?
T5 forever now.
I thought we ran out of pizza. All right. This one from...
T5 forever now. That's like the, so, you know, the $5 foot long, ready, $5 foot long. And we're not even getting paid for that.
No. We're not only not getting paid, but it's nice to know that they also own you.
I would like to be in the room when the guy, the copywriter that came up with that, and they're like, Jim's got an idea. Jim, tell him, and he's like, okay.
Wait.
3, 4, 5, ready, $5. $5 foot long, and then it goes on. And then they're like, we like it.
You know, let us tinker with it. What about his sting? What about that writer's sting when they rewrote him? So you're not going to wait the extra beat between $5 and $5?
Exactly.
It's not.
Well, originally it was an 8 count. It was an 8 count. He's at home right now watching those commercials and being like,
the fuck? It's an 8 count.
It's an 8 count.
It's not the same. William Bozarth.
Oh, Willie.
From the Facebook.
Willie B.
Willie B. From
Billy
the,
B.
From the FB. Billy B. if you're tight. Offers up this tweet 5 to you. Television or radio drama?
Television.
Chuck Manson or Jack the Ripper?
Ripper.
John Carson or Jim Fallon?
Fallon.
How Stella got her groove back or Stella... I can't even pronounce that's the beer, right? Stella Artois?
Oh, Stella Artois.
Artois.
Stella Artois.
I never knew that last. David Wayne or Michael Ian Black. It's a Sophie's Choice. There's a gun to your head and one of them must die.
David, me, and Black. I had to do it.
I don't blame you. You got to talk to this jerk.
David, me, and Black Wayne.
Mm-hmm. I can't personally thank you enough.
Are we done?
I'm gonna suggest to you that 1 hour you requested putting in is coming up on 2.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
I got to be somewhere.
Yeah, you're late.
My wife is going to kill me.
We need to get you the fuck out of here. And I apologize.
I've had so much more fun than I expected, which is to say this. I didn't think that... I'm amazed that it's been 2 hours.
That's exactly right.
I am actually amazed that it's been 2 hours.
Well, this is the best we have to offer.
Can I say one thing?
Please.
I used to smoke very chainfully, in a chain way.
Sure.
I would get up in the middle of the night to smoke a cigarette.
I love that.
I quit smoking for 5 years, and in that 5 years, not a day went by that I didn't want to smoke a cigarette. I picked it up again. Within a week of picking it up again, I was back to a pack a day.
Easily.
It was like instantly right back to being a chain smoker. I knew I had to quit, and I finally got up. My wife said, "You got to do it. You got to do it." And I said, "You're right." So I went and I got hypnotized.
With the Buick on the head?
What's that?
Hairpiece? The guy that Paul Rudd, did Paul Rudd tell you about this guy, the hypnotist?
No. Oh, I've heard about him.
Oh.
I've heard about him, and he did not. No, not him. He's out here.
Yeah.
No, this was in New York.
Fantastic.
She put me under. She did a lot of stuff. She said a lot of stuff. I could tell you everything she said. I remember it. She talked very weird. It was very weird.
This is how I got off smoking also with the
Really?
hypnotist. I turned Paul and he got his mom
Oh,
off.
did you have the guy with the...
Yeah.
I've heard everyone tells me this guy's amazing.
So I want to hear about yours.
But you were doing this, and I literally could hear her being like, "You are..." She was doing that voice. She was doing like a weird voice of like slow motion voice.
You can, here.
She was literally doing that.
Wow.
She was like, "You are, my voice is getting very slow."
And you thought, I'm getting ripped off here.
Yeah, kind of.
Why don't you stick your finger in my ass?
So she talks, we're talking. She goes, you can wake up now, you can like open your eyes now. How long do you think I've been talking to you?
You said 11 minutes.
I think this is a trick question, because it feels like 5. It feels like you've been talking to me for 5 minutes. I'm going to say 10, because I bet it's 10, because it's felt like 5.
She said
45 minutes.
And she showed you a clock and showed you that she wasn't making it up.
Correct.
That 45 minutes had in fact passed.
Correct.
Wow.
So that's how this has felt.
By the way,
Did you hypnotize me?
Every time a taxi drives by, you will drop your pants. After today.
She did a bunch. Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
or do the funky chicken or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's how I got off the smokes. That's how I turned Paul Rudd on, and his mom.
Everyone talks about that guy.
Got off sleeping like Ambien, and
So
yeah,
do you? So
this is
have
the
you
miracle
been
worker.
to this person more than once?
No, just the once. This April will be 7 years.
Off smoking.
Yep.
And was it like right away just gone?
Like it turned a switch in my head.
That's what happened to me.
It's inexplicable.
Inexplicable.
Yeah.
Crazy. I never thought it would be possible.
No, that's the fun part of turning people on to it.
And I
Matt
said
Jones was the reason.
I would say if everyone could quit smoking as easily as I did, everyone would quit.
I called it the coward's way out because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to suffer.
There was a 3-day physical. I can tell this thing that I've been hooked on is.
You're a little dizzy
but that was
the
it.
nicotine's leaving your body.
That
Yeah,
was
I
it.
know.
And then it was just gone.
We should have opened with this. I'm thrilled to hear everything you had to say today, except one thing.
What is it?
That the 3-card Monty had been requested.
Why?
Because I know that you brought that to this. It wasn't asked for ahead of time. You're that giving and that selfless that you actually turned us on. You brought that today. And I don't.
3-card Monty coffee
With the cups. I don't want anyone to think that we talked about it ahead of time.
Okay. You can cut that part out.
That's just not the truth.
You can cut that part out.
You brought that.
It is the truth. No, come on, Kevin. The minute I walked in here, you said, Mike, promise me you'll do the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit.
All right.
And I said, I'll do it, but it means I'm going to have to spill some coffee.
I said put your thumb in it. You don't have to spill it, just put your thumb in it.
But you can't do the bit without spilling some coffee. And I said, that's the risk that we take when we do it, and you did it, and you're welcome.
Thank you. If you wouldn't
By
mind,
the way, you can
yes.
see me, I will be in Peoria at the Snow Cup Lounge doing the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit March 3rd through 11th.
That's a long run.
8 days.
That's a long
8 days.
run. How did you get that gig?
It's not a big paying gig.
You're back to your art.
It's not a big paying gig.
You're back to the art. Well,
I pass a hat.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass it's actually a can. But if anyone wants to see it live, I'll be in Peoria at the Snow Cup Lounge.
Snow Cup. Go to the website.
Have you ever done the Snow Cup Lounge?
Michael Ian Showalter. I've not.
Good crowds.
Great crowds?
Great crowds.
Would you say great crowds?
I would say great crowds.
Wow.
The early show is a good crowd, late show is a great crowd.
Both crowds are great.
Yes.
Okay.
No, the early show is a good crowd.
Oh,
The late show is a great crowd.
I see.
Yes.
The first show's a little stiff.
Yeah.
Little.
Right.
But
A lot of them stay for the late show.
no.
Yeah, well, they get a little.
They don't
sauced
turn the
up.
house?
They turn the house, but some of them pay twice.
Imagine that. Imagine that. People come up after the show sometimes, after the first show, and they'll say, "Are you going to do a whole new set for the second show?"
No, I say this. You saw, but I mean, it's different, a little different every time.
You can't put your thumb in the same cup. That's the exciting part. You got to mix it up. Which cup will he put his thumb in?
The Charlotte
It's like
Russe.
It's a Charlotte Russe.
It's a 3-card Monty coffee cup. 3-card Monty coffee cup.
It's your Charlotte
It's
Russe.
my Charlotte Russe.
Oh.
It was 2014. There was a guy, Michael Showalter. And he would do this bit. It's the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit. It's the 3-card Monty coffee cup bit.
You jest, but I have one more improvisational assignment for you. It happens at the end of all these interviews, where the guest is invited to play the Larry King game. I will explain it briefly. You will play it into your camera.
Okay.
We're looking for that moment at the end of Larry's show on the CNN when he would go to the phones. And right before he went to the phones, he would look into the barrel, otherwise known as the camera, and he'd share a little something about himself. And then he'd go to the phones.
Okay.
So I need you to do a bad Larry King impression. I don't want a
boy.
good one. I don't want a good one.
Okay.
I want a bad one. So
Okay.
you can do anything.
Okay.
And then, as Larry,
Okay.
look into the camera and share something about yourself,
Okay.
not about you, about Larry.
Okay.
Larry sharing about Larry.
Larry sharing about Larry.
And then go to the phones. And if the name of the city is funny sounding, that's going to help.
Okay. So this is very improvisational.
Completely, if not 100%.
Okay. I'm not going to be good at this, but okay.
Weird.
Because I can't channel Larry King. But I'm going to try.
It's got to be a bad Larry King.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
You go to the phones and you say the name of the city, hello, and then we're done.
Okay. Is someone going to ask a question?
Nope.
Okay.
It's already great.
So,
It's already great.
You put some, what's it called? Bengay, the hot icy on my back. I put a little hot icy on my back. And anyway, Jacksonville, Mississippi, you're on the line.
Oh.
Jacksonville, what's your question?
There's no one there. But I can't thank you enough. I'm weeping. Sit there uncomfortably, please, while I wrap things up. But honestly and truly, thank you.
My pleasure.
For the heat you're about to face with your wife.
Oh boy.
In her third trimester. Good luck.
Thank you.
Now that the show is over, make sure to head over to squarespace.com to start your free trial with no credit card required. Make sure to use the offer code POLLAK, P-O-L-L-A-K, to get 10% off and to let Squarespace know we sent you. Thank you, Squarespace. And thank you all. Dr. Chen, sitting in for Sam Quick Levine, our very own Sean Foster, Jamie Foxx, see you at the movies. Nope. We got the J-Mac, we got the Josh, we got the Samantha Ward on makeup, we got the Danielle Oberlin on the marketing. We will not forget David Mandel. It'll be the wraparound for the show. How great our intern is. And now I'm convinced I've forgotten someone. All right. There it is. I thank our guest, Michael Showalter, for just an exceptional 3.5 hours of his life that he gave to us.
Springsteen.
Totally Springsteen. The boss was here, and you got it for absolutely nothing. Next week, Sunday, Academy Awards.
Ooh.
Curtis Armstrong.
Ooh.
Brace yourself.
Ooh.
Originally Anna Faris was scheduled. She's swapping weeks, so she'll be March 9th. And now March 2nd.
Curtis Armstrong, was he in Revenge of the Nerds?
Booger.
Booger.
Yes.
Booger to block.
Booger, and he was also in
Moonlighting.
Moonlighting, and then he was also in the Tom Cruise movie,
Risky
Business.
Risky Business.
Very nice.
Are we going earlier next week?
We're going to go at noon next week. Thank you for that, because of the Academy of Awards. I hope they show Danny DeVito eating carrots in the front row. That's it for this week. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.